rock and roll band. Fly at night, in the morning we land. Fly at night till we're satisfied. See the morning from the other side. And when you close your eyes, sleep comes fast. When you fly the universe, well, you need some rest. Yeah, you need some rest. Spaces, yeah, we like a sea of faces. Time is just a rubber band. Time is at our command. And when we look out and see it there, you see much closer and you feel so near. Yeah, you feel so near. It's like a rocket flight, and baby, that's just what it's for. You fly by night, it makes you feel alright. You keep coming back for more. Satisfied, see the morning from the other side.
Baby, Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the EdgeStream. It's great to be here again with you all tonight. Ooh, what a night it's going to be. Yeah, we've been playing some Canadian classic rock songs for you. You know, you gotta have the theme of Canada sometimes. You know, they try to make us watch all these crappy Canadian shows on our cable while we were growing up. So I'm gonna make you listen to some of our not that crappy Canadian classic rock songs, because we have a lot of good ones that came from this country over here. But anyways, it's great to see you all here again. We're live right now on YouTube, Rumble, Entropy, and Twitter. So hello to everybody tuning in on any of those platforms. If you guys want to donate at all, you could feel free to do that on Rumble or Entropy. You know, I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and as well, you know, this helps me continue to do this show and other content, whatever it may be. And I'm going to be trying to do more content going forward. So the more support, the more I can do that. I see on Rumble we have Justice for Fathers with a nice super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, "Fuck you. I love truth and bigots, Phil." I don't know how to parse apart that sentence there. Fuck you. I love truth and bigots, Phil. I think it's fuck you, comma, I love truth and bigots, comma, Phil. So he's talking to Phil. I don't know if he knows that Phil agrees or disagrees with that, but either way, thank you for your money. Let's all give a round of applause for Justice for Fathers. And fathers should get justice. Wherever they are, I hope that fathers everywhere in the world get the justice they deserve. Whether they did something bad, they get justice for that, or whether they were wrong themselves, they also get justice through the appropriate court systems. So good name as well. Over on Entropy, we have Dr. Genstein just saying super gay and a couple dag slashes. I think he told me that he is going to be an asshole tonight. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to that, I guess. We have tons of people on YouTube and Rumble as well. We have a couple failed end towers here. Nice try, guys. This looks like some Jeet engineering here on these end towers. Like, you can't be calling in LMIAs, getting temporary foreign workers to create your end towers, because they end up all fucked up. Drawra says, here to fathers and justice for fathers. Now, some fathers are bad and they deserve to face justice, but other fathers are good and they deserve proper justice. On YouTube there, we have some amateur engineers and architects here as well. Ooh, that one. I don't know. Does it count if there's a message retracted? No, that doesn't count. That if there's a message retracted going right through your end tower, that's basically like a 9/11 for against racism. That took racism back like another 24 years or however long ago that was. You'll love to see it though. You'll love a good attempt. Ooh, Chilliwack. Yeah, Chilliwack is a good band from British Columbia. From Chilliwack, I believe. Maybe they're not from Chilliwack, but Chilliwack is a place in BC. Is Chilliwack from Chilliwack? That is a good question. Chilliwack, the Canadian rock band, is from Vancouver, BC. Okay. Well, close enough. Somebody said, nice Dominion Society commercial. I did see a nice Dominion Society commercial. Maybe we'll play that in a bit. Remigration now? Yep. somebody is on end time. And then they made the appropriate emojis for what could be construed as yeah, end time. I like it. I've never seen that before. Lee Stewie says local small business was ransacked over the weekend. Foreigners stole over $1,000 in food. Yes, we watched that together. Local business in Niagara Falls producing like whole foods, things without pesticides, healthy meats, healthy vegetables, and gypsies of all people came in with their gypsy stealing tactics and distracted the owners, and then just filled all their bags with as much food as they could. And it just left the owners dumbfounded, and actually speaking out against this out of control immigration. And there's going to be more business owners and stakeholders within the community who are more and more going to be seeing and getting red pilled on this whole immigration situation and the question of race in general. Yeah, she says, I'm so fucking sick of these people. Yep. Mass deportations now. Yep. Saga Tune was great. Yeah, Saga, Chilliwack, and April Wine were those bands that were playing there. James Bullock says, is entropy working? Well, it looks like it is to me. Oh. Yeah, she says, I'm so fucking sick of these people. Yeah, sounds like it's working to me. Jenstein's over there alone there. Somebody needs to call him gay back because he called his stream gay. So if you want to go do that, feel free. Oh, we got another N tower, but there's two R's at the end, and the E is lowercase. So, sorry, boys. You're going to have to try that one again. Shane Marshall saying, I'm from Chilliwack. I'm fucking dying for Chilliwack. Okay, Shane, you weren't born in Chilliwack. You got there, like, literally yesterday. If you want to die for Chilliwack, that's up to you. But don't be claiming Chilliwack when you just got there, like, yesterday, bro. So when do we get a banana statue? Yeah, there is a new monkey statue. I don't know what. I thought it was a monkey statue. Then I look closer. I'm like, is that a monkey? I don't know. Do these people, they all praise monkeys and, like, I don't know what Vishnu is, like a fucking cow. They praise cows. They eat cow shit, so. Either way, yeah, new ugly monkey statue this time in Mississauga. We'll be talking about that, but more so about the greater picture of the invasion that's going on, how we can reverse the flow of this invasion, and just the depraved mind of the Jeet. Like, I really enjoy looking into the psychology of these people because they're truly an interesting case. So we're going to be analyzing, we're going to be putting them under a microscope and trying to understand why these people just can't help but get hit by trains. They can't help but die by the thousands by getting hit by trains that you shouldn't stand in front of, but they just can't figure that one out. There's more to it than just stupidity, though. There's a whole culture of India that we're going to get into. And we're bringing it here. Just FYI. Just so you could be white-pilled about something. Yeah, it's coming over here. So we're going to be talking about that and how maybe we could stop it. Lee says, can't even collectivize to make an N tower. It's so over. Well, keep trying, guys. It's about the more we try, the more we put an effort in to make this all happen, the better off we'll be. In the meantime, there's a dignity to actually trying and advocating for your people. At the end of the day, whether it works or not, at least you put in the effort. And that's something to live and die for. Dr. Jetstein with a super chat says, I, spelled EYE, space capital D space NYE space hollow HOLLOW space cost COST. So when you say that all out together, I think it says I deny Holocaust. Or maybe he meant to say edgy, IYE, edgy D, and then NYE New Year's Eve. I don't know what you mean by that. I certainly hope it's not something that's illegal under Section 319 in the Canadian Criminal Code. But I deny Holocaust. Well, thank you very much for that super chat. If that's going to put somebody in jail, then I feel like I would want to be the one to help defend somebody like that, because free speech is a paramount right that any civilized nation should have. But anyways, thank you. I appreciate that. Droff Work says, in contrast to the recovering racist stories, as more people actually witness certain other cultures, more will see that remigration is necessary. Interesting. So there are recovering racist stories going around. I know that the mainstream media and all these NGOs that are, anti-white, they like to take some crazy skinhead racist who took it way too far for no reason, had bad strategies, whatever else, some low IQ person, and get them to become like a reformed anti-racist. But we all know that generally once you get red pilled, you don't go back. And that's why the black pill is a thing, because once you get red pilled, once you go from the blue pill to the red pill, it's either the black pill or the white pill. And then whatever pill is going to get us out of this, I don't know what color pill that would be. I don't know if it would be a suppository, like you have to shove it up your ass and boof it for greater effectiveness. I would hope not, but either way, there's got to be... Most people don't go from the red pill back to the blue pill and then become like an ardent supporter of the blue pill. In order for that to happen, I think there's got to be other things at play. But anyways, thanks for the super chat. He says, in contrast to recovering racist stories, as more people actually witness certain other cultures, more will see that remigration is necessary. And yeah, the fact that more people are going to be put into proximity with these other groups of people and see what their culture and what their biology as a group is actually like and the fruits that it bears, people are going to get red pilled and they're going to come to solutions that they wouldn't have thought of before. And it's up to people like us, vanguards, thought leaders, people who could actually make things happen, whether it's Diagolon, whether it's groups like the Dominion Society or Second Sons or any of the other nationalist groups operating in Canada or worldwide. It's up to us to push forth these ideas, all the content creators, all the people who are infiltrating politics or media, or just the people who talk to their friends and family and try and enlighten them. It's up to us, people who are aware, who have decided to take action. It's up to us to bring these people up to speed, because somebody who was not into it 5 years ago may very well be into it 5 years from now when the pain really starts to hit for them. And it's up to people like us to bring them in if they're worthy of it. Because, you also have to watch out for opportunists in that case, because opportunists will come in whenever the heat is down and you don't know if they'll betray you or not. So there's a lot of moving parts at play here. Trotfork says, yes, we've seen these stories on the state broadcaster channels. Once Fred met Arshdeep, he realized that we are all one race. That's a good way to put it. I don't think they could honestly sell a story where some white guy who was ardently racist met a Jeet and then somehow, they were completely reformed. they've done this with American History X and Hollywood, where like, what was it? Edward Norton's character, Derek Vineyard, he curb stomps the guy. He goes to jail, and then when he's in jail, he realizes that the other Nazis in jail, they're willing to do business with they're willing to politic with the other races. So he finds that to be a total anathema, like a total disgrace. But then he meets a black guy that he likes while he's folding laundry, and then he's just like, shit, yo, that's crazy, nigga. Yo, we're actually like kind of friends, yo. And so then he decides to disgrace his own race, like racial gang in jail, start playing b-ball with the niggas, and then he gets anally raped by his own Nazis, and he renounces racism. And we're supposed to believe that is some coming of age story of how you could become a reformed racist, and Hollywood puts that out there, and all the masses soy out over it. Like, I remember I watched this in literally high school. There was a lesson plan that our teacher did in grade 11. The class was called, like, Families and Communities or something. It was like a stupid class, but it was fun and easy. And the teacher got some lesson plan from the internet that included literally fucking American History X. We watched the motherfucking curb stomp in class. Put your fucking mouth on the curb! You should have stayed on the basketball field where you belong. I forget what the actual quotes were, but it was hilarious. And then the next class, when we were going to finish the thing, she made us all put our heads down and be like, I think that movie might have been a bit too much. So if anybody feels like they don't want to continue with the movie, put your hands up. And then one person put their hands up while all our heads were down, and then we weren't able to watch the rest of the movie. But either way, that's like such a fucked up movie is being shown in high school classes, just like Schindler's List too. Complete nonsense being shown like as if it all happened in real life, even though it's not based on real life. It's not based on a true story. These are the kind of propaganda that people watch, and they think that's reality. But in reality, people come into proximity of diversity and the horrors that it provides, and they realize, no, it's not that good. So that's why usually it's just a one-way street. And the people who go from the right to the left, it's usually because they got in it way too deep, and then they were forced to become an anti-racist leftist in order to save their whole career, because they were like Derek Vineyard and they were curb stomping people, part of a gang or something like that, part of a criminal, like Nazi prison gang or something like that. That is not what any of us are trying to do here. Or maybe you are, I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but not anybody that I know. You should have stayed on the basketball field where you fucking belong. Fold the shirt with an egg and you forget all about your father's murder. Yeah, that's like the movie American History X. He folds a couple shirts in prison with some nog, and he forgets all about how a bunch of nog shot up his father, who was just trying to save them from a fire. Yeah. Yeah, Celsus asks. Sorry, I sound like a black guy right now. Ask. I can't say ask. Celsus asks, is this the Edward Norton curb stomping film? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Somebody says, that's very optimistic, Edgy. I give it 2 years max. So I said 5 years from now they'll be on our side. Yeah, 2 years, probably. It's not going to take long for the masses to come around, given the rate of change that is going on. Alright, well, let's get into some of the topics here. The first one, like, I heard talks of this for a few days, and it was like, oh, they're saying you can't go outside in Nova Scotia, you can't go into the woods. And I was just like, oh, this sounds dumb. But then, no, I looked into it, finally, and I was like, they're actually saying that you literally can't go into any woods, any trails. You can't even bring another person onto your own property into the forest area on your own property because of forest fires. So as of yesterday, Nova Scotia government officially says, okay, you guys can see that, travel activities in woods restricted to prevent wildfires. So as of 4 p.m. yesterday, no hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits. Camping is only allowed on official campgrounds, and you'll get a $25,000 fine if you do any of these things. This article says Nova Scotians have been told to stay out of the woods. What does that mean? It means forested land. So I think Lee told me earlier today that it was like 77% of Nova Scotia you're not allowed in anymore up until at least October 15th. Maybe sooner if they decide to take it away, but when do they ever take away a restriction like this sooner than they say that they're going to keep it in for? Remember 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Yeah, that was more like 2, 3, 4 years to fucking take away all our freedoms and force us to get jabs that are going to fucking kill us. But forested land, rock, barren, brushland, dry marsh, bog, or muskeg. So I guess I got to figure out what a muskeg is if I were in Nova Scotia and make sure I don't go near that. Don't go near no muskeg. Don't go near some dry marsh, bog, forestry, rock, barren. Don't go near rock. Don't go near brush or bog or muskeg. This is insane. It doesn't say in these articles why you can't go in any of those things. It does cite that there's a high chance, like it's drier than usual, and there's a high chance of forest fires devastating things. I went and looked up the reasons why they would say that you can't actually even go into the woods at all. Like, that just sounds insane. Like, I can imagine if there's literally that much of a chance that things are going to burn down because of open fires, then you have an open fire ban. Okay, I get that. But not going into the woods. So it did say, when I looked it up, because people might smoke there, they might put out their cigarettes, they might use tools like chainsaws or ATVs, and those could get heated up or catch fire or something. That if you dispose of an item like a bottle, some bottles might create like a magnifying glass type situation or conduct heat and catch something on fire. That if people step down on brush, it'll make it more dry or more able to catch fire. Also, that if they do need to evacuate places, that if people are in there and there's a forest fire, it makes it a bit harder. So I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here. I'm trying to give their best case scenario, because they don't tell you why in any of these articles that I just read. They don't say it in the official news press release for the Nova Scotia government. They don't say it in the CTV article when it's literally asking, what does that mean? It's just telling you what you can and can't do without giving you any of the reasons why. But those are the reasons ostensibly why they say you can't go into the woods. Either way, at the end of the day, it's just like, so what? There might be a glass bottle that acts as a magnifying glass and catches everything on fire, or you might throw out a cigarette wrong. if you are so scared that things are going to catch on fire just because people are in a forested area, oh, and enforcement too, because it's easier to enforce just not letting people go into the forest whatsoever than it is to enforce people not actually having open fires in them. So just because we think you could do it in there, you're not allowed to do any of it. You're not allowed to go into 70-80% of the land in Nova Scotia. But yeah, it's insane. Like, it's just pure overreach. It has echoes of COVID where it's like, okay, so you can go to a bar, but you have to wear this mask that we know doesn't work and actually contains more bacteria because everyone uses these crappy masks over and over again. But once you get to the table, you can actually just put it down. Like, all these retarded rules that make absolutely no sense. But what they do is create new precedents to restrict your freedom and to fuck with your mind. So it is kind of like a continuation of extreme government shutdowns and overreach from the COVID era. This is, they overextended the use of viruses for this, so they're changing it to the whole climate change propaganda once again. Now, they're constantly going on and on about the environment and about climate change, smog, and fires and whatnot. And when they're constantly stoking fear about these kinds of things in the news, in the media, and in academia, there's been like a long march through academia, especially with things like climate change. Once they have people pre-programmed to believe these things, then they could push through these things inevitably into the future. With COVID, it all came all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden everybody's wearing masks and everything is locked down. But with climate change, they could attribute every forest fire that happens, every hurricane that happens, all of these things can be attributed to the fact that you didn't comply. You didn't comply to this carbon tax. You didn't comply to these ESG, environment, social credit governance. You didn't buy into this and that. You didn't vote green. You didn't comply with the 15-minute city model. They could put all of these things together. And I think this is the end game of the more malevolent side of this whole agenda, is that they're going to restrict your movements, and then they're going to create case precedents in order to restrict your movement. And if you comply with it, if you don't give any pushback, the next time it's going to be even easier for them to do it. So I hope that they're not going to comply with this. I hope at the same time they're not going to actually fuck around and people are going to start fires in the forest on purpose in order to flaunt these new rules. Because I can also understand how, burning down hectares of land is not good for Nova Scotia or anywhere else. But at the same time, you can't let them take away your fundamental freedoms like that. You might as well not live if you can't go into the fucking forest, if you can't go on a trail, if they're going to tell you what to do like that. And of course, this is just giving attention to arsonists, people who may be agents of the government who could do a false flag or something like that, and then it solidifies into the future the need to have these lockdowns that they tried to do, but then somebody went in and started a fire. Who knows what their intention was or who told them to do it, but this leaves huge ground for a situation like that. The Liquid Zoo said Tim Houston can get fucked. Yeah, and it's also unenforceable. I think Jeremy said that today, that this is retarded and unenforceable. Yeah, what are they going to do? Really? Are they going to actually fine people $25,000? I don't think so. Lee says, so how are people supposed to chop wood for winter? Are they allowed into the woods on their property? Okay, yeah, you're allowed into your own woods on your own property, but if you need to bring like a friend in who's not living at the house, then that is illegal and you might get charged $25,000. Yeah, somebody says no off-grid preparation going on in Nova Scotia. Well, it definitely puts a kibosh on that. And I would just assume a bunch of people who are trying to do something like that, especially on Crown land, they would get the fuller brunt of the charges that are available, like the $25,000. They should ban spoons next. It makes people fat. Yeah. You'll catch Trantifa with a road flares setting fires. Yeah. Tarpsoft says the forest is full of Jeets just stalking around. You really think they will comply? And yeah, that's the thing, is also, like, if you have people who aren't respecting nature and they're putting fucking garbage all throughout the trails and the forestry, and they're smoking cigarettes and lighting fires anyways because they don't understand that they're under a state of, like, a huge dry spell, huge chances for forest fires, yeah, then it becomes a lower trust society as well. And in many cases, it's more advisable to restrict freedom. So that is the other side of the coin that we're trying to prevent against. But either way, we have to say this is not the kind of country that we want here. Bullock says, walk in the forest, $25,000 fine. Jeets throw garbage into the forest, that's fine. Yeah. Well, it seems that they would rather stop everybody from going in the forest than to address the things that are actually going on that are politically incorrect. So that's a great fucking point. Jenstein says, thank you very much. He says, how will we meet our wicked witches like Miss Speaker and Lee Stewie? Okay. Wicked, I don't know about wicked. These are some benevolent witches. These are more like fairies, Miss Speaker and Lee Stewie, or angels. I don't know about witches. But yes, the forest is a place of enchantment and a place where you can go and find all sorts of wizards and fairies and bridge troll. You'd find a bridge troll probably under a bridge. But yeah, you definitely find some witches, maybe a bunch of decapitated heads inside of a tree I saw once. Maybe if you go deep enough into the forest, there'll be some temptress witch that will try to make out with you and stick a poisonous apple down your throat. I did hear that they were cooking fat children in the forest from some grim tales I've heard, but if I went, that was actually our origin tales of me and Lee Stewie meeting each other. Was I went out into the forest and I saw a magical pixie fairy floating around, and I caught her with a net. And I don't know. The rest gets really graphic and is no longer a G-rated fairy tale. But anyways, thank you for the super chat, Jenstein. Mr. Bullock again saying predictions for when the cities are burning. I'd say 10 years. I'll give that 10 to 15 years. Everybody always goes, it's going to happen in next year. But cities actually burning, probably 15 years. I'll give it that. There's going to be a lot more forest fires and, climate change scares and hurricanes and whatnot before the cities start burning. Well, actually, George Floyd, that was probably the last huge burning of cities. It's been 5 years now, and there hasn't been another big one. And people actually have Negro fatigue now. So now when another George Floyd happens, people are probably going to think, well, yeah, you probably deserved it. They're not going to fall for the propaganda as easily. But if the demographics continue shifting, then very well there may be a shift, like the pendulum always swings back and forth, so the Negro fatigue might turn back into Negro rage, and then, yeah, you might get some more cities burning again. So I'll give it another 5 years, but for another mass burning of cities or of buildings in cities, but total chaos, probably another 15, 20 years. Drawrus said, knew it. Same thing happened to me. It was a redhead, though. Okay, so you went into the forest, too, and found your significant other. I dressed up in a wolf's skin, so, I was very primal about it as well. Lee said, Jenstein said I have a crown, so, okay, no one's gonna get that but us. That's inside joke. I thought we had Smokey the Bear to help prevent those forest fires. Yeah, well, do you think a Jeet is going to take orders from a bear? No. Jeets are scared of bears because they tear them apart in their home country because they don't know how to treat animals properly, and then they attack them all the time. Whoa. Master Grunt 15 says Harry Ballsack says hello. Harry Ballsack, one of my earliest subscribers. Well then, that is a salute to you, sir. Whether it's you or one of your proxies, it's great to see you here, man. All right, well, everything's burning down, and you're not allowed to go outside anymore. I'm gonna play a quick song, take a quick break, and when we get back, I'm gonna get into the great replacement that's going on in Canada, and we're gonna get into the Jeet question, of course. I really like psychoanalyzing these people, as some might call them. Whoa, don't dehumanize here. Don't dehumanize. Are they dehumanizing themselves with the way that they are, though, and the way that they act? I don't know. We'll think about it. What does it mean to be human? And do they possess those qualities? I mean, I'm sure some of them do. Hashtag not all. Hashtag not all. But, yeah, we'll be getting into all of that and more. Anyways, here's another Canadian classic rock jam for you guys. And I'm trying to use a different band each time I play a song, too. Can't all just be Rush, Tom Sawyer, fucking Limelight. You gotta give some shout-outs to all the bands, like Triumph.
Story all over again. You turn a lover into just another friend. I wanna love you, I wanna make you mine. Won't you lay it on the line? waste my time. You got no right to make me wait. You better talk, girl, before it gets too late. I never ever thought you could be so unkind. Won't you lay it on the line? Lay it on the line. Lay it on the line. Lay it on the line. Don't waste my time. You know I love you. You know it's true. It's up to you, girl. Now what have I got to do? Don't hold me up, girl. Don't waste my precious time. Won't you lay it on the line? Lay it on the line. 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 Don't hold me up, girl. Lay it on the line. Lay it on the line. Lay it on the line, girl. Lay it on the line. Don't hold me up. Lay it on the line. Lay it on the line.
There we go. Some lesser known but definitely known Canadian bands like Triumph. Maybe we'll have to do some Trooper next. Maybe some fuck. Well, everyone knows BTO and the Guess Who, but maybe some Honeymoon Suite. Maybe some 5440. Surprised I pulled that one out of my ass right now. That's a good band. Anyways, people are loving the Canadian classic rock jams. Okay, yeah, let's start this section off with new Ugly Monkey statue just dropped. Now, I thought it was an Ugly Monkey statue, but oh no, apparently this is this is Ram. This is what these fucking retards praised. So Lee posted, new foreign statue just dropped, a 51-foot. Hold on. There you go. Now you can see it. A 51-foot idol of Lord Ram, the tallest in North America, was unveiled in Mississauga Sunday. So ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a, ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a. Maybe not as ugly as Hanuman, the monkey statue, but I really don't know what a Lord Ram is. Let's check it out. Lord Ram. Lord Ram, what is? What is? Rama, the Hindu god, is the seventh avatar of the god Vishnu. In Hindu mythology, an avatar is an animal or human form into which a god can incarnate in order to counterbalance some opposing evil. Vishnu has 10 avatars, depending on local stories in each area where he is worshipped. Oh shit. Well, this just sounds like some poorly written video game. Like, come on. This is who you make a 50-foot statue of? Can we make like a fucking 50-foot statue of like a Warhammer character, or like a paladin from Diablo, or sorry, I don't want Master Chief from Halo? That would be a lot fucking cooler than this. Like, this is what you praise as your idol? That is fucking gay and retarded. And yeah, this doesn't seem like it has very much religious depth, in my opinion. Once again, we don't want this here because this is just foreign nonsense and another symptom of a problem that is destroying Canada, destroying the West, specifically the Indian invasion. And we'll be getting more into that. There's one thing I wanted to show you just because it made me laugh, but it's some epic cringe just like that was. Hold on, let me get rid of these. So, two of the biggest faggots in Canada, so-called conservative faggots, Clyde do something. So it started off with Jeff Evely, and this is like one of those things where, like, I'm a Canadian, and Trudeau says that I am unacceptable, and then everybody would post that, and then they would all get like 10,000 likes. Just some meaningless nonsense where it's just like, Trudeau is a tyrant, and I want some attention. Yet, you're not really saying anything of substance except for Trudeau bad because he may have done bad things. So here's Jeff Evely, huge simp for Zionist Jews, says, I'm a Canadian veteran and I feel neither safe nor respected nor free. Whoa, what a bold and brave statement. Stunning and brave. We should take the Medal of Honor away from Caitlyn Jenner and give it towards none other than Jeff Evely over here. And then likewise, we have the stunning and brave Clyde do something. He's doing something over here, and he says, I'm a Canadian mechanic and podcaster. I feel neither safe, respected, nor free. You don't live in Canada, you fucking faggot! You have, like, you can go live with your wife, your Japanese wife in Japan. You're also, like, a dual citizen for America. You can see it on the left in your background. Why don't you go there and fuck off? You fucking pussy. Cry about white nationalism once again. Like, this guy going and speaking at a conference that was put on by Jeets and Jews in order to say that all of their enemies are threats to Canadian national security, and this is their poster boy for that thing. So this guy is holding water for all foreigners under the guise that he's a conservative. So I just wanted to point that out. It's good for a laugh. Let's all point and laugh at the faggot. I don't know which side do I need to point at. Hold on. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Let's get these angles right. No. What a faggot. All right. There we go. We got it right there. Anyways, you want to see some guys who are not faggots and who are spreading the good news of a new concept. It's not a new concept, but it's a term that's relatively new that describes a concept that's as old as time. And this concept is remigration. You may have heard this in different forms before, such as, they have to go back, which was done extensively through Diagolon and popularized by none other than Diagolon throughout Canada and through other people internationally like Steve Laws, who are advocates of the concept remigration as well. And yeah, it's about not only do we need to stop this mass immigration or immigration as a whole with something like a moratorium on immigration, but we actually need to grow some balls and start sending them back. And, it's fun to say things like, you're going back via catapult, via trebuchet, we'll send you with a we'll tie you to a torpedo, whatever you could think of. That's all fun and dandy to say, but actually coming up with solid policy that could make it happen into the future is something that's very important. So there's this group called the Dominion Society, and apparently they're going around spreading the good word. Somebody sent me this video, and I thought it was pretty funny, and I think it caused some kind of conversation, some debate on whether a group like this who's trying to be serious should put out something like this. Anyways, let's watch it. They're spreading the good word of remigration.
Hello! Have you heard the good news?
No. This does look kind of cool, though.
Oh, we're sending them back! Through the legal channels, of course.
Well, that's good, because I am pretty sick of living in a third world country.
Great. The Dominion Society is a vanguard movement. We're not a political
And you get a
party.
free pin.
Alright now. We're just reaching out to community members in the area to keep their eyes and ears open for big events and volunteering opportunities coming in the area.
Donate today.
Well, so there you have it. I love people in the chat. They're like, this song kind of slaps. Harry James on the trumpet. That's how I know you guys are white. Is that, you just catch the little details like that. By the way, who is that fat chud in the video? That Homer Simpson-esque retard? I know we're trying to spread the good news of remigration, but do we really need retards like that in the movement? Is that a good representation of remigration? Well, you know what? We have our own retards here in Canada, and we have to protect them because the retards in other country are coming and taking the jobs of our retards, and our retards need their own homes too as well. And they shouldn't have to compete with their retards for all the resources for retards, okay? What are people saying about this? They have to go back. They all have to go back, okay? Free pen, yeah. It's true, you do get a free pen with the Dominion Society. Mormon racists, someone yells. Save the tards. Yes, yes. But anyways, this fun little video here, it's the classic straight man, retard man, or whatever you call that in the biz. The straight man, and then the fool, the straight and the gay man, or the retard man. But at first, there was more negative comments, more negative feedbacks, saying, if you're going to be a serious organization with a serious agenda, you got to start acting more serious. I don't get what the point of this is. But then comments that were positive, saying, this is fun, this is creative, I had a good laugh, thank you for this. Those started overtaking some of the other more negative comments. At the end of the day, I agree, this is a serious topic, but we also have to find ways to be creative about what we're doing, to be funny, to show some versatility, to show that, hey, we're able to do things like this if we want. We're able to get our message out in these other ways if we want. And if something doesn't resonate with one group of person, if they could see that we have a greater agenda and a greater plan at play, then something like this should be a net positive, saying that, hey, we can get those people who want to see that spark of humor and creativity and bring them into something like this. And I think these are the kind of people that we want to attract. Of course, we don't want to be cringe and keep on making everything a joke or making things a bad joke and, a Facebook boomer tier meme of everything. We don't want to do that either. But We want to be creative. We want to show that we can hone all sorts of different skills and creative outlets. And by we, I mean us as a whole movement. I'm not part of the Dominion Society. I just witnessed this video and saw a bunch of interesting arguments going on in the chat. I don't know who this fat chud is over here. Maybe he could lose some weight and maybe gain a couple brain cells, but I don't know. I thought he was pretty funny. He kind of cooked when he said, "We're sending them all back. We're sending them all back." I thought he was pretty funny there. But what was one funny one I saw? Somebody said, "Move over, Tom Hanks. Edgy plays the best retard ever." What? Wait, what? Why the fuck are they talking about me here? That's okay. Well, it sounded like a compliment. Why are you in an ostensibly right-wing remigration advocacy group making ads that make it look like remigration advocates are total buffoons? Okay, we're now reaching new levels of not getting it. Though I get it. If this were a thing where it just became silliness, then what are we even doing here? But yeah, I think flexing some humor, flexing some versatility, and giving people a good laugh is good once in a while. I think people need to lighten up. Rotten Studio says, so there isn't a height requirement for these ads? You always bring it back to that, man. One day I'm going to measure you, and then at the cutoff line of my tape measure, there's going to be a bunch of razors that fly out, and they're going to decapitate you at whatever height you deserve to be decapitated at. Always making fun of the manlets, you piece of shit. Well, you'll get yours, Rotten Studios. Dr. Jenstein says it's time to release the rape video. Literally no one knows what you're talking except for you. The only person... would I release that video? No, probably not. But hell, you be my guest. I don't know who is going to look worse than that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I plead the fucking fifth. But yeah. One day the roles are going to be reversed, and there's going to be an opposite kind of film floating around, if you can catch my drift. So thanks for the super chat anyways, but your days are numbered as an unraped man, Mr. Jenstein. Yeah, Odious Patton says, Edgy's got lots of rap videos. I do. Check out I'm Edgy by Edgy D featuring Cosign, where I was given an NPAS by a literal living black man. He did have vitiligo, so he was turning white, as you could see in the music video. Maybe why he was so inclined to give me the NPAS, so we could relate to each other better. But a funny thing we'll be getting into later is one of our resident political prisoners, Canadian girl. She was caught on the record by police with a white privilege card, which is probably one of the funniest things I've ever read in court documents before. So we'll be looking into that a bit later tonight. Lee Stewie says, Pete did such a good remix of that song too. It's a banger. Yes, the I'm Edgy remix with Tofu TV. That one is very good as well. Thank you. So I just want to quickly look at this Dominion Society website. Like, I read it when it first came out, but I also just read it again now. And they have a section on their website that is all about what is remigration, which is the concept that they're trying to normalize. It's already being more normalized in other countries in Europe. Like Dres Langhoven, I think his name is, in Belgium, I believe. Steve Laws in Britain, Martin Sellner in Austria, Germany, I believe. But on their website, they're bold enough to declare that the Great Replacement is real. It's not a conspiracy theory. Heritage Canadians are being replaced, and it's happening all over the world. Yes. Now, this is great for people to just come out and say, because the mainstream media, academic institutions, and government institutions have been trying to say that the idea of the Great Replacement, the idea that white people are being replaced in all Western countries, or most Western countries, that is a myth, and it's a myth that's so bad, it's so racist, it's a white supremacist conspiracy theory that is aligned with mass murderers. So they always try to connect you to mass shooters and mass murderers whenever you espouse something that they consider the Great Replacement theory, which is just the fact that white people are facing not a full-on genocide through like very deliberate and explicit bombings and knife attacks and like ammunition and whatnot, but it's more of a soft mental assaults and legal assault and physical assault when it comes to all the migrants coming, killing, and raping people into Western countries. It's assault on all fronts that is orchestrated, whether knowingly or unknowingly, but the result is the same, is that white people are being displaced in their own countries, and they're becoming minorities in their own country at a rate which does ring the alarm bells of genocide, and that is the Great Replacement. Yet they being the mainstream media and the government institutions, will gaslight you into saying that you're the mass murderer for saying, hey, I don't think what is going on here is okay, about your own people getting genocided. They will say that you're the mass murderer for noticing that kind of thing and speaking out against it. How fucked up is that? So to have people who are willing to make an organization with their real faces and names, and to create like an infrastructure where people can join it so that you can garner some political institutional power potentially. You could create organizations and volunteer opportunities for people to get together, networking situations. That is a great thing. Because it's no easy feat to recognize the Great Replacement and assert against all the mainstream media's gaslighting that this is in fact a real thing that's happening, and it's the most important thing that's happening. As you can see here, Brampton went from 75% white in 1981 to 18% or 18.93% white in 2021. Canada as a whole from 93% white in 1981 to 69% white in 2021. In 40 years, basically like almost 25% of the population of white population of Canada has gone down. That is historically unprecedented, unless it's the fall of a society, of a civilization, of a people, of a nation. And talks about the lies they tell about immigration and how it's supposedly good for a country. We all know that's not true just by using our eyes, ears, and our noses in some circumstances. But they dispel that here. There's some good graphs here showing, once again, the skyrocketing rate of internal net immigration here. Like, just at the end of 2020, it's gone so much worse. Like, I was not thinking or talking about Jeets that much even 5 years ago. But in the last, 2 or 3 years, that's all I see everywhere. And now we face the Jeet problem head on now at this point. Housing prices in the last few years just skyrocketed. Our highest average home prices in Canada, in all of G7 countries. I don't expect to ever own a home unless something really great and awesome happens with some wealth accumulation here. Doesn't matter though, I'm still going to try my best. I'm still going to do my best for me and the people that I love. But it's a pipe dream for a lot of people. For most people, even at this point. In the past, if you were competent enough to keep a job, you could fucking have a home and a family of your own. Just keep it together. Now it's become so much worse. And so many people are falling into things like drug addiction and other maladaptive behaviors because, like, our people weren't meant to live like cockroaches like Indians do when they live like 20 people to an apartment together. So the alternative solution for a lot of our own people with this kind of culture shock, with this kind of rapid denigration of our society and demographic change, this overstuffing of our country, is that we don't respond to it very well. There's a good graph here too about how it's disproportionately Indians that are coming over here, especially now, and it's followed by Filipinos and Chinese. I'm sure there's some negative aspects of the Filipinos and Chinese, but Indians, it's just very blatant in your face, and they're kind of a retrograde culture when you really think about it and investigate what India is actually like. Not that I want any of these groups here. It should stay what the founding stock of this country was, but Indians are as far from the founding stock of this country as you could possibly fucking get. And they're the ones who are coming, beating out all numbers, even like almost triple even what Filipinos are. And you even have countries like, they mentioned here, different groups of Eritrea is the country, Eritreans fighting each other in the street. Yeah, well, they're probably the first country here other than Nigeria, which has its own circumstances, where there's 45,865 immigrants into Canada. I think that's for 2023, or I don't know exactly how this graph is played out. But having that many people from one of the nastiest countries in Africa, I'm sure most of them are as nasty as Eritrea, but this is a country with like no human rights or proper infrastructure. None of those things. So you're surprised when they come in and they all beat each other up with machetes and shoot each other when they're having their own Eritrean pride festivals. It's like they're having a festival that's supposed to be prideful of their own country and proud of their own country and celebrate it, but then just different Eritreans just fucking killing and attacking each other and they're a small fucking country in Africa, and just this small number compared to the amount of Indians that you bring in of these people causes that much disaster that is just unknown to the civilized mind. And as they say here, there's only one path forward, and it's remigration. It's been way too many of them to come here to just say moratorium on immigration. You have to start sending them back by the millions. So I don't know where it says it here, but it says that estimated total with their action plans here, 4 to 8 million deportations. And this is all well thought out shit. I just read it a couple hours ago. Again, I read it like maybe a few weeks ago when it first got released, but I read it again just before the stream, and it's very doable stuff if you have the will and the means to do it. And it's not anything crazy that is totally usurping laws of all sorts. It's stuff that should be done and is actionable based on the current laws that are in place. Obviously, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe not. We could always hope. We could take, I guess it's the green pill here, because there's the white pill, but they have a nice like green color on this website. So maybe we'll take the green pill. I don't know, take this 10-step plan to preserve the Canadian nation. I don't know. It's a start. It's a start. Brainstorming these things, looking at current Canadian laws and how we could change them, it's always a start. And it's something that we could push forward onto our politicians. And as things worsen, of course, they're not going to listen at first. Most mainstream figures, even conservative figures, are pretending like the Dominion Society doesn't exist, even though they obviously know it does. And they're just other like, oh, we can't be a part of that. Or they're like looking at it from the sidelines, like pointing like, ooh, I wish I could support that, but I'm too much of a cuck and have all these strings attached to me like a puppet, so, and they're going to pull me away, so I can't right now. But either way, people will come around. So yeah, that's the Dominion Society. If I were you, I would sign up for this to become a member to the Dominion Society. I think it's a good initiative. I'm friends with several of the board members, and I know they're great people as well, so. Perkstoff says, I saw a chart once that had Philippines at the very bottom of it, and that chart was world IQs. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know too much about Filipinos. I do know that they had a Filipino Pride Festival where, like, I think it was a Filipino or a different kind of Asian that was slightly similar. This was in BC, and he rammed through and killed, like, over 10 people at this Filipino festival, this Filipino cultural festival. And then he just looked like he didn't know, like, what did I do? What did I do? I have no idea the specific circumstances behind the situation. I heard he was very mentally ill. We don't know if it's racially motivated, but it's just like, yeah, that doesn't seem like the kind of thing we want to bring into our country either way. You know, people were going to ram a vehicle killing a dozen people at their own pride festival. Not that kind of pride, but, you know, their own cultural festival. Meanwhile, the Eritreans are cutting each other up with machetes in order to celebrate their own diverse culture. Yeah, we're not having it. We need to reverse the flow, as they say. I like that term. Reverse the flow. You got to reverse the flow. It sounds like you're just like an epic science man that just found like a way to scientifically calculate and explain the way that you got to send them the fuck back. You got to reverse the flow. A lot of the Filipinos work in healthcare. Yeah, I have noticed that. Celsa said they took Diagolon pretty seriously. Are you talking about the Asian that ran into the Filipino that ran into the other Filipinos, or the government or the media taking Diagolon seriously? If they committed any crimes, they should be kicked out as well as any family members they have here. Well, much more than that. Like all permanent residents, all temporary foreign workers. There's so many different people. There's, as they said on the website, 4 to 8 million people that if you just changed laws that make it able for these people to be deported anyways and don't guarantee them, access to Canada, if you just shut off the tap on all these things, I did a couple calculations, and it said that basically we'd go from 70 to 80% Euro Canadian at that point if we just at least did like 6 million of the people who could be potentially be taken back to their home countries where they belong and they could be happy there. Celsa says they don't seem to be taking the Dominion Society seriously, but a fictional group has the fucking PM talking about it. Prime Minister talking about it. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Dr. Jenstein says, I heart Negroes, Jews, and witch cunts. You did say you were going to be an asshole tonight, and I don't know whether this is being an asshole or just being just a very strange man who might be on psychedelics and watching this in the middle of a forest right now with a bunch of monkeys, trolls, and feminists, from what I just gathered by your super chat there. But anyways, I hope you're having a good trip, buddy. Thank you once again. I want to show you guys an interesting court case right now. This is one of the big free speech cases in Canada. You know, whether we ask for it or not, some of you may know her, Canadian Girl, has been charged with 2 hate speech charges. I think it was last year she was charged. But just recently, Blonde Bigot put forth all the court documents about how she's being charged with, I think it's incitement to hatred and willful promotion, public incitement of hatred and willful promotion of hatred. And this is especially against Jeets. And Jeets, in these court documents, are the main target that they claim that she committed hate against. So let's get into this. This is interesting. We're going to learn some things about the court processes, about criminal law. All right, so just to read the title of the thread, it says, Canadian Girl has been ordered to be in court. This was maybe like a week or so ago. She was ordered to be in court for incitement of hatred and other such nonsense. The following papers were provided to her. So I went to about like image 4 of all the screenshots or all the pictures that were taken of her court documents. So the offenses that are under investigation here are public of incitement of hatred. That sounds like a typo, but I guess they wrote that. Public incitement of hatred, contrary to Section 319.1 of the Criminal Code, and willful promotion of hatred, contrary to Section 319.2 of the Criminal Code. So, details of the investigation said that on July 17, 2024, the Chilliwack RCMP, so Chilliwack, another mention of Chilliwack tonight. Shane Marshall, you said you were Chilliwack native, even though you just got there yesterday. Go hang out with Canadian Girl. I think you and her would make good friends. You as the person who threw pebbles at, and I can say that I don't have to say allegedly anymore because you're convicted of it, in the Trudeau v. Marshall landmark case that has gone through the courts already, and you've been convicted of guilty of assault against the Prime Minister. So maybe you should hang out with Canadian Girl over there in Chilliwack. Anyways, Chilliwack RCMP received a number of reports from different complainants regarding hateful and offensive content being posted on Twitter X by user Canadian Girl at Racism is the Cure. So the complainant reported that Christine Jones, with the real last name of Lockhead, is committing hate crimes specifically against the Sikh community on Twitter. Lockhead has posted that she was going to throw all brown people into a wood chipper. You know, the very actionable threat of throwing all brown people into a wood chipper, you know, something you should take very seriously. That should be definitely a criminal charge of just speaking such words as I just did there. You know, was it actionable if you just take my words there out of context? Is that actually possible that I'm going to throw all brown people in the wood chipper because I said something like that? I don't know. That seems kind of fishy to me. Anyways, it has like a laundry list of all the things that it added to her hate charges in Canada. So these are some of the things that I guess could get you charged with hate. But at the same time, there's a lot of them where I'm like, people say these things all the time, so I don't think this specific one right here would constitute like a hate speech charge. But it seems once they have a few things that they think they could get you on, then they just pile on everything you've ever said, and they use that, I guess, as supporting evidence, even though the things just are totally true. They're not even necessarily advocating any violence or even any hatred. They're just stating facts about some kind of person or what your ideology is. It's just a mess of things where it should be like there's one specific statement here, and then we have things to back it up. And even then, none of that should be illegal. Like, all speech should be free speech unless you're specifically telling somebody to go do something. You're counseling a crime, you're counseling violence. I could understand that. But we'll see here what constitutes a rap sheet of things that you've done in order to constitute other willful promotion of hatred or public incitement of hatred here. So it says, I'm not going to read all of these, but I'm going to, like, I've already read them, so I'm going to try to skim through some of the more important, pertinent, and some of the funnier, more interesting ones. Audio recording of Twitter X loghead saying she didn't want to genocide, so she doesn't want to genocide them, but she did want violence to remove brown and colored people from Canada. Well, thing is, when push comes to shove, you know, anybody getting deported is going to be deported by an officer that is holding a gun. The state is the monopoly on violence. So to say that is some kind of hate speech, or even the idea of hate speech here as a criminal matter, is insane. But like, you could already see what we're getting at here. Videos of Loghead accosting people of color in the street. You know, all the different spaces, the titles of the spaces that she was in, such as Nazi space, racism heating up in Canada, racism is the awesome sauce, Muslims will never be Canadians, Indians are parasites, weak, inferior, and useless. So, seem like some good stream names, some fire streams. Whether you agree with those statements or not, sounds like there would be some interesting conversations going on there. And I bet you a lot of Indians came in there and committed hate speech themselves, but none of them are going to get prosecuted, especially Indians who are coming into a country that is hosting them. And they're saying they're going to bloody motherfuck rape everybody, because Canadian Girl has been receiving rape, murder threats constantly, but none of these people get put to justice. No, she just says she doesn't like them in many different colorful ways, but she's the one who they're writing this long laundry list of crimes about. So she posted almost daily from June to July 2024, which include posts like, all brown people need to leave all white countries that include you. Black and browns should not be allowed to have pets, and all domestic animals should be removed from their care in their countries. So just a lot of blanket statements. Some of them are just crazy, like, to clarify, we aren't right-wing law, we are white nationalists. So that is supposed to be evidence of hate too as well. I mean, maybe if you're trying to build a case with all the other things, but that in of itself, pretty crazy. Like, do they think that constitutes hate in and of itself? And can they just piece a bunch of things together to try and say that, oh, you committed this fictional hate crime offense, which is really just speech, that it should be free, right? A photo of two South Asian youth on treadmills with text, just had two Jeetlings in sandals kicked out of the gym. Now it's all white in here. Well, should they have been wearing sandals in the gym? This has been a common problem. These people taking over gyms and making them uninhabitable, especially with their lack of deodorant use. I've seen in gyms, personally, them taking off their shoes and going bare feet, and then me and Lee going to the staff ourselves to go and reprimand them. That is fucking disgusting. And these people do disgusting things like this all the time. So trying to get staff to enforce rules, that's a crime apparently. Because there was a racial angle to it. Seeing like a lot of these are just similar again, trying to see if there's any that are sticking out. So a video clip uploaded by a Canadian girl in which someone believed to be Loghead is in a vehicle in traffic and recording a South Asian male driving a sedan beside her. Loghead is giving the male the middle finger and yelling, "Fucker! Fucker!" The text posted with the video said, "Look at me, Jeet." So, I don't know, that's definitely causing some shit. That definitely shows for a lady she has some fucking balls too. Now, I don't agree that this is the best way to be doing advocacy and advocating for your people, but people are going to do what they want to do, and she just seems like a one-woman army of love for her own people and hatred against anything that affects her own people. And regardless of whether you think it's a good idea or whether this is in good taste or she's even a decent person, this should definitely be free speech and she shouldn't be being persecuted for this. So there's another interesting thing where she takes a picture at like a business where there's a bunch of white people, an ice cream business, and one of them is brown, and makes a comment like, most of them are white, but this one brown guy is killing the vibe. So the store owners actually reported her and helped like create this evidence for the crime, and basically helped get her by showing the footage from their CCTV camera of her taking the picture in the establishment. So that was just an interesting thing that the business itself sold her out. So a business that was mainly white people, they gave CCTV footage to the cops in order to get her charged criminally with hate for making a picture, for taking a picture with a caption in their restaurant. It's also an interesting thing to say if you're going to take a picture somewhere and there's cameras around and you're a white person who has an opinion, then you should maybe be careful about that, because there's going to be evidence in other areas and people are going to fucking sell you out. So this one is fucking hilarious. So during the booking process to Chilliwack cells, Constable Lehinuk searched Loghead's wallet for identification, and he located a BC service card with Loghead's information and a novelty credit card, white privilege card. The white privilege card had the inscription, "This card grants its bearer happiness and success because of the color of your skin and not the choices you make that determine your abilities to be successful." So like I said before, Canadian girl literally has a literal white privilege card in her wallet, and the arresting constable booking her in finds that in her wallet and puts that in her criminal court case amongst all the numbers of things that she's done wrong that she's getting booked for. A fucking white privilege card with a hilarious caption on it. Now that is fucking awesome. That is legendary. Put that in my criminal history that I had a white privilege card. I used to have an N card in my wallet that I got from a literal black guy. As I said with Vitalago, so he's turning white. It's all good. Don't worry. And I think I've lost it now. But if I ever find it again, or if I ever get a new N card, I'm going to put it in my wallet. And I hope that I get arrested with that N card. And they put that on my books. when they're booking me in. And this is just ridiculous. And it's sad. Oh, here's another thing. They're also doing an MLAT, a Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty for X, so I guess that's with the US, where they're obtaining all the information from X/Twitter. So Twitter is just going to hand over to Canada, Canadian authorities, all her Twitter information, or at least that's what I understand. Even though what she did wasn't illegal in America, and could potentially not even break the terms of service in America. Or, sorry, the terms of service for Twitter. But they're just going to hand it over anyways to overzealous authoritarian government that makes speech illegal. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's just fucking ridiculous. Like, hate speech charges should not be a thing. And the fact that they're trying to take words and feelings and opinions about things, and opinions that are not counseling violence, by the way. You're not yelling fire in a crowded movie theater when you do this. They're just saying the fact that you don't like Jeets, you don't like Indians, you don't like non-whites, that you are literally a criminal. You're a thought criminal, and because you express it, now you're an actual criminal. That is not how a Western country should operate. And it's just why we don't want these people who are retrograde, like Jeets, who think that they could take advantage of this and that they could swipe under the rug, they could push under the rug all the reasons why people don't want them there so that they could assert themselves over here and take over. So Canadian girl is definitely a Canadiary in a coal mine. A canary in a coal mine. Whether you agree with her strategies or not, like, I would not be going around doing the things that she has done or saying the things that she has done, but she definitely deserves our support. I would also recommend, though, that people be careful if they're going to break these hate speech laws. And they should do it in ways where they're going to have the most amount of people supporting them. If they're going to do it, they do it in the smartest ways. And they do it in a way that is going to make the system, A, want to think twice before they even lay those charges. And two, if they do it, it causes them to overstep and for you to actually win, so that you could set a precedent that you won once you have like an army of people, lawyers and supporters able to push back against their overreaching and their overstepping. Because sometimes, or usually a strategy that they go after now is like somebody who advocated violence or took things really far. It's very hard for average or normal or professional people with money to get behind something like that because they were guilty. They were saying, like, we need to go out there and we need to kill X, Y, and Z. Like, come to my house with X, Y, Z and we'll go out and we'll do A, B, C. They say things like that, and it's like, so how is anybody supposed to help you? It seems like you actually may have uttered threats or done something like that. And then they sneak in all these precedents for hate crime and hate speech charges with things like that. At least with Canadian girl here, it's just, she just has a pure disdain for people that are negatively affecting the people that she loves, or at least she perceives it that way. So I do want to talk about her content and somebody that I found through some of her content before. An actual Indian man himself. But I'm going to check the chat to see where you guys are at before I get into that. Jenstein says, Picton is still alive. Come feed your enemies to the pigs. Picton is not. They killed him before he could tell of all the police that were involved as well. When whenever the police, they got too rough with the prostitute and, you know, she was half brain dead, they would bring them to Picton, or they killed her, they'd bring them and he'd feed them to the pigs. They had parties at the Piggy Palace. We know about all this. He's not, I don't know if he's still alive, though. His brother is, I think. And he was involved. He definitely knew about it. But yeah, in BC, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Robert Picton, I think he's the most prolific serial killer in Canadian history. 49 dead prostitutes, and he told another inmate, like, before he was killed in prison. I don't know if he was killed in prison or he died a natural death, I forget. But he said he was mad he didn't make it to 50. Now, that's, to me, sounds like an honest admission. Like, he's like, rats, I wish that I could have got it up to 50 or whatever. But, no, yeah, that's a lot of dead fucking prostitutes. And it's part of it's a Canadian heritage moment, really. But he was trying to write a book, and that book may have implicated a lot of people, because he was a man of the community. Like, imagine someone like me, or Jeremy, or Ferry, or Derek were considered racist. You can't associate with us. If you were involved with us, somebody might try to cancel you or something, or get you fired from your job or something. But somebody like Robert Picton, he could host the mayor at his Piggy's Palace. He could have police parties at his place. Meanwhile, in 1996, years before he had all these people constantly coming to his house, all these people of the community in in positions of authority, he had got charged with attempted murder against a prostitute, and the only reason it didn't go forward is because she was so on drugs and fucked up that she couldn't testify against him properly after she escaped from him. But no, we're the bad ones because we're trying to talk about what everybody wants to say is going on, but they're not allowed to say it, or else they'll get their lives ruined. It's really fucked up when you think about it. Well, if Picton is still alive, and, you know, there's jurisprudence and, you know, very legal trials put forth for traitors in the future, and we bring back public executions, and I'm talking all legally, of course, this would have to be by the books, right? You'd have to all write it in. Then maybe if Robert Picton is still alive, we would have to execute him again if, you know, come on, he committed a lot of crimes. But, you know, his pigs might come into use, right? I don't know. Well, thank you for the super chat, though. That was a monologue that took many different forks in the road. It was quite the adventure. I feel like Picton's pigs would be like a good set of creatures that you would encounter in like a game like Diablo or something. Picton's pigs, and they all come and try and eat you alive. You'd get canceled for that, though. A band name, yeah. That's the new Canadian band name, Picton's Pigs. Okay, I've been wanting to start a punk band for a while. Obviously a racist punk band, a racist white power punk band. I was thinking like cool names like the Anglos, the Caucasians, the Caucasoids. But I think Picton's Pigs would be more of an Edgy D frontman type band. Picton's Pigs. I see some pick emojis in the chat. All right. I want to get into more of the lore of Canadian Girl because she makes a lot of interesting posts that on the surface level, they seem just like she's some really mean sociopathic person. But when you look at the depth of what she's actually posting, it's like, no, she may just be exposing people who are sociopathic as a whole that are a danger to the people that she loves. So I want to get into that in a second. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to play another Canadian classic. What do we got here? Many people don't know this band is Canadian, but I think it's got at least one Canadian in it, or a couple. It's at least half Canadian, so CBC will allow it. Steppenwolf.
She asked me maybe I could share a sorrow for all the men that try to treat her wrong. Though just a baby awaiting her tomorrow. It's rock me baby, all night long. She needs an answer to her confusion. Someone to guide her with a tenderness. Or that she's asking for a solution. Or that she gets, you know, is something like this. I don't know where we come from, don't know where we're going to. But if all this should have a reason, we would be the last to know. So let's just hope there is a promised land. Hang on till then, as best as you can. Everybody's ill, you know, it fills her with compassion. That's why she tries to save the world alone. She helps the needy in her own fashion, then tries to give them all her own. She needs an answer for her confusion, someone to guide her with a tenderness. But when she's asking for a solution, all that she gets, you know, is something like this. I don't know where we come from, don't know where we're going to. But if all this should have a reason, we would be the last to know. So let's just hope there is a promised land. Hang on till then, as best as you can.
Uncle Semite says, Edgy playing all the bar tunes I play when there's fine coolers drinking. Shit.
Rock me baby, all night long. Rock me baby, all night long. Rock me baby, all night long. Rock me baby, all night long.
Fade out there, DJ Edgy. Yeah. Alright. Well, like I was saying before, I want to make a white power punk band. What should the name be? I just thought, because of Jenstein's brilliant super chat, Picton's Piggies. If you guys can think of a better name than that, then I might pick that instead when I inevitably start my my white punk band, my white riot power punk oi vey band, or whatever you want to call it. They'll definitely have some elements of comedy in it. But you know, I was thinking of the Caucasians, the Caucasoids, the Honkies, maybe the Cracker Jackers. But Picton's Piggies is fucking awesome. It's hilarious. That's epic. If you guys have any better names, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll let you guys figure that out. So like I said, yeah, I want to talk about some of Canadian Girl's content. And one thing that she does a lot of is like each day with her, and she continues to post this kind of thing, or at least allegedly. I don't know if it's actually her. It says like Canadian Girl number 19 or whatever on her account. But each day will be just a different set of like 50 to 100 or dozens of videos of Jeets, Pajeets from India, in India usually, dying of a specific type of death. Dying a specific type of death. So the first day was train day. So just Jeets dying by trains. Another one was drownings. Another one was electricity. And another one was vehicles. Those are 4 different days of content that I remember. And trains. Like, you think that this is sociopathic, like she's a maniac, posting 100 different deaths of Jeets caught on video with, a sarcastic or, a sarcastic or mocking caption about what is going on in the video. But you have to ask yourself, why is there 100 videos of Indians being hit by trains or dying by trains? Like, what the hell is wrong with these people? And this is something that they said against Diagolon, because Ferryman's Toll, he laughed at a video that had a compilation of Indians being hit by trains. But in reality, like, is that his fault? Because these people are so stupid that they are able to create videos en masse of themselves dying by being hit by trains. One of the most avoidable deaths in the world, by the way. But you have to ask, what is wrong with their country that this is happening? What is wrong with these people? Like, you know that if you stand near a train, just because you're not directly on the tracks and you're trying to take a selfie, that doesn't mean that the train... Do you think that the train is just completely in line with the tracks on the road? That it's just like a rectangle going straight up from the tracks? Like, you don't think it has parts of it that go like further than the tracks itself? Like, they have no spatial awareness, no mental capacity to judge the fact, even the fact that thousands of them have died before because of this, that maybe like that this is a traumatic event that you should, as a people, avoid. The thing is, these people have like an average IQ of what is it? Let me just look it up right now. Average IQ in India of just 75. Wow. These are doctors and lawyers and engineers, sir. No, these are people who stand in front of trains taking a selfie like 1 foot away from the actual track and go, and then get hit by them. And then their friends take their phone that fell out of their hand and upload it to social media and probably laugh at them behind their backs. Like, these are a disgusting people. I just can't understand the depravity that is involved with allowing something like that to happen over and over again, and your people are too stupid or you don't even care enough to do something about it. And somebody like Canadian Girl, who is, flippantly posting 100 videos of this that actually exist. You can't find 100 videos of Canadians being hit by a train. I don't think you could find one video of a Canadian being hit by a train by accident. Or even at all. I don't think I've ever seen even an American being hit by a train. I'm sure there's a video of it that exists, like a white American or a white Canadian or something along those lines. But these people, how do you even have something like that exist? How do these things get uploaded onto the internet too? They're so callous that they just upload your brutal death of you being a fucking retard up onto the internet as well. Like, the psychology, the absolute mental depravity of what is going on in a country like India, it just befuddles the Western mind. But still, we bring them in here by the millions. As you saw in that graph from the Dominion Society, they're by far in immigrant group that is coming here the most. Now, we're probably not taking their lowest caste all the time. Like, it's probably the smarter of them are able to get out of India, making India itself worse, too, because, like, at least those people can maybe keep India together a bit better. But even then, they're just willing to leave their shithole country and come here. But at the same time, we see these things happening now in Canada. It's just degrading our culture, and we're going to become more like India. And the way that it happens, the most pronouncedly, the most prominent way it happens is with vehicles. Because when it comes to a train, like, the trains in India are so fucked up, and the way that they ride on them is so crazy. Like, they'll have Indians riding off the side of trains like, woo! And then, like, they'll just get hit by a pole that was made too close by a dumb Indian engineer. And the fact that they're hanging off the side of a train in the first place just means they're retarded. But, yeah, they'll just get absolutely clipped and then killed, or, you know, whether they're taking a selfie in front of the train, or whether they thought that they could just, like, bike in front of a train tracks as a train was coming and make it with no depth perception or rational thought going into it before they did it. Yeah, trains are one thing. But the thing is, when you bring these kinds of people to Canada, even if they're not the stupidest of them, they still have that stupidity within them. And you are letting them operate large trucks that could decimate smaller cars immediately, kill people immediately with one wrong mistake. And we see it all the time. We saw it with the Humboldt crash. The guy wasn't properly prepared to drive on the road with what he was doing. In fact, all the Jeet companies, all the Pajit Indian companies that brought him in here, cut corners and were reprimanded for cutting corners and cheating the system repeatedly. And this guy was underqualified to ride on the road, and he blew through 5 signs that said, hey, in 500 meters, in 400 meters, in 300 meters, all different signs, there's going to be a stop sign. And because he wasn't sure he properly secured the load on the back of his transport truck, because he wasn't qualified to be on the road, because all they do is cut corners, bribe each other, and cheat the system over in India. It's like their modus operandi. So he does this, and he comes and he kills like over a dozen real Canadian hockey players who had a future to them, who had families, and injured dozens more. Just devastating so many lives. And they make a stink over to not getting him deported after he gets out of jail for something like that. This is the kind of thing that we're importing, and the kind of thing that some hate monger who's now going to go to jail, she's probably going to spend like a year in jail, in my opinion. Maybe like 6 months or so. I don't know. I think they're going to throw the book at her because she's an unrepentant hate monger, apparently. And she's just kept on going, allegedly. I don't know if those are actually her accounts, but I think she's whistling. She's blowing the whistle. She's throwing some alarms off about what is coming into our country. And whether you want to watch the graphic videos or not, those graphic videos are going to be your family and your children. That's going to be the future for you if you let these people infiltrate our societies. So trains was a big thing. Drowning. You should watch these drowning videos that she posted. There was dozens and dozens. I saw multiple videos of a Jeet jumping and diving headfirst into what was clearly a shallow pool. In one case, it was even just a fountain in like the middle of a mall. And then in both of these videos that I watched, the guy clearly got knocked unconscious and was like bloodied up. And it took over 2 minutes for the several other Indians surrounding the guy who dove headfirst into the ground in a shallow pool or fountain to actually lift his head out of the water that was face down. You know, if an emergency happened like that, I would think the first thing you might want to do is get their head out from face down in the water. But I don't know what is wrong with someone's brain that they can't figure that out. Are they just too stupid? Do they not care enough? Either way, it's just unacceptable thing to have in your society. Not one of those three retards could like move this guy properly and just look with a dumbfounded face at it and like, what is going on there? What is this mental deficiency that causes this? I feel like an animal could do a better job at saving a human in that situation. Like, get Lassie in there at least to like push him off to the side and like lift him out off the side of the public fountain that he jumped headfirst into. No, the Jeets do no such thing to help somebody like that. I watched one where they drowned in what looked like a water hole right next to a ledge that they could have just grabbed onto, but because this whole family of people, or it looked like a family of people, they all just grabbed each other and clawed at each other frantically right beside a ledge that they could have grabbed onto, like crabs in a bucket. Like they were willing to kill the other person without any other thought, drag them down, because they couldn't have thought anything through to begin with. It just seemed very animalistic. And meanwhile, this was filmed like they had like some like GoPro or something. They were smart enough to set that up at least. I don't know how they were smart enough or dumb enough to not figure out how to grab onto a ledge and maybe not all pull each other down underwater, like 2 feet away from ground that they could easily have grabbed onto. But then somebody also goes and uploads that to the internet for everyone to see. So it's not only stupidity, lack of brain cells, lack of compassion, but just like a general like penchant towards sadism, to being sadistic. Like, why would you upload something like that to the internet if those were your friends? Who would upload that? Did you give it to the police and they uploaded it? Did anybody learn anything from it when you uploaded it? Because it seems like these people don't learn anything from anything that happens. Also, electricity. They just don't understand the concept of electricity. They don't have the infrastructure in order to have electricity be safe to give power to any houses. So many deaths. I remember I used to watch this thing on Reddit. It was a Reddit called Watch People Die. And the only credentials you need to have, or the only requirements to post a video, is someone has to die in the video or it's going to get banned. So this was a subreddit on Reddit for a while, and it was interesting because you could see what are common ways that people end up dying, whether it's like a murder or an accident. And what just populated, and it didn't click in, the Indian question at that time, is just so many of them, like some of the most viewed videos were just like 10 Jeets are trying to put up an electrical pole and they all just fucking get electrocuted and die at the same time. And it's like, you would never see that happen in a place like Canada. Oh, well, maybe in the future you might, but it's just these people, like, electricity, it was like given to them by the white man through colonization, but it, like, left to their own devices, they don't know how to sustain it. They don't know how to use it properly or safety. It's almost like a magical god like Vishnu, or it's like their version of a Jeet Thor that's going to rain down thunder and lightning upon them at any time that they're too stupid, which is all the time. I've seen, like, this was like dozens of videos of them just electrocuting themselves to death in many which ways. One of them she said, all these people watching, this is Canadian girl's caption, it was at a parade of some sort. She's like, all these hundreds or thousands of people watching, and not one of them saw the problem here. So they have these huge, like, metal sticks to help make the parade happen, and there's just a huge electric wire, like, totally and obviously in the way, and then the metal pole touches the thing, and all the people get electrocuted and probably die. Well, not one person saw it coming. And this is the kind of thing that we want to bring into our society. And even if we're bringing the smarter of them, there's still like the IQ principle and the genetic principle that there's a regression to the mean when you have like a peoples that come in and say you're one of the smarter ones. When they have kids, it's not necessarily going to be the smart one. You're not going to pass on those smart genes necessarily if you're coming from a society and a race that has lower IQs where things happen inevitably like I just described. And then there's several other videos of just people walking around with like 30 foot high metal poles. Like, why are you walking around with a metal pole like that? Why? What is going on? And then they just walk into power lines and electrocute themselves to death. Like very obvious power lines. Just over and over again, and it seems like they don't learn. Like I read one headline that said like a billboard kills 20 people in a single parking lot. So you built the infrastructure in India is just so engulfed with corruption that nothing is made right. So any building can crumble at any time, it seems. A single billboard can just fall and kill like 20 people in a single parking lot. How fucked up is that? But it's interesting to study, you know. Edgy D, myself, I fancy myself a bit of a psychologist, and I like to study the mind of the Jeet. I actually have a couple Jeets over there in my basement right now, and I do psychometric testing on them to see what makes them tick, to see what fires the neurons in their brain to have any sense of awareness, and so far I haven't had any success yet. I try to show them videos of their own people dying by trains, and it just leaves no reaction to them. They just see a train and they think they want to take a selfie in front of it as well. That's what they tell me. Oh yes, I take selfie in front of train as well. Very cool. No. It's just like they don't learn. No matter how many times these things happen, they don't learn. And that's what we want to bring here. And this is what people like Canadian Girl are trying to tell us. But we got to throw her in jail. $1.4 billion people. Yeah, that's like that's a huge percentage of the world's population. But we need to bring them here to infect our country. Oh, don't forget the cousin marriages, somebody says. I could see rolling blackouts in the near future. Yeah, they want to seem like Bollywood stars, walking unconcerned near a train, and then get fucking smoked. Yeah. They don't understand ecosystems. Massive population breeds that kind of contempt. They are so arrogant. They are shocked when a nation doesn't want them to replace its people. Yeah, get the littlest hobo to help the Jeet drowning in a 1 foot deep fountain. Yeah, because the other Jeets won't help their own people. Yeah. Yeah, did anybody come up with a good name for our punk band? Because I saw it might end up being that soap users. Is that a band name? Blackface Peggies. Albion Prime. It's the pattern recognizers. Does anybody else have any white power punk band names? Autistic Auschwitz Audit, AAA, is my name suggestion for your white power punk band. It will be the first to be found in the phone book. Yeah, so this is like also a post Uncle Ted society where everything has been blown up and we're back to phone books. Autistic Auschwitz Audit. Okay. The egg shapers, the hard R's. Avatar apes. Yeah, I think Dr. Genstein is right, as he just said here. So our band name is Picton Piggy. So you want to be in my band? Okay, well, I don't. I forget whether you know any instruments or not, but you could definitely be in our band, at least as our mascot. You have to get a pig mask though. The hard R's is pretty good, but I still think it's the Picton Piggies. You have to get a pig mask though if we're gonna do that. Big D and the Bigatones. Well, that's pretty good. So there's this interesting guy named Jeet Bandari. Now, once again, in order to avoid the hate charges, and just the fact that, you know, I don't hate people, like every person of a race that, you know, I'm gonna make criticisms about, right? And a case in point here is Jeet Bandari, and he's a guy who grew up in India, and he was successful in India, and he migrated, I think, to Canada and the UK, and he was successful here. But he talks about his journey and his adventure in shedding the ways of the depraved Jeet mind and understanding Western culture and the first world mindset, something that it took a while for him to shake, but he pierces through like the realities of India and explains them to us in a way that made me much more interested in learning about like what is wrong with these fucking people. So I'm going to play a little clip that he does for speeches in America and elsewhere. He has a speech, it's called Understanding India. And in this speech, he talks mostly about this other article that I've read on this stream before. It's called India, It's Worse Than You Think. He states a lot of the same things in it, and I'm not going to go through too much of it. I did listen to this just before the stream, so I could maybe like repeat a couple of things that are just very specific to the mind of the Jeet and to why this is such a big problem. But he talks about the cognitive dissonance of the Jeet mind over here.
Most people feel no cognitive dissonance because they cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood. And I'm
about the Jeets, so he's talking about the Jeets here.
Dissonance because most people feel no cognitive dissonance because they cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood. And I'm going to come to it in a bit, explaining that it was the meaning of truth was a revelation to me when I moved to the United Kingdom. They convince themselves of their lies so much that they can no longer differentiate between myth and reality, fact and fiction.
Imagine that. A peoples who they're just so used to lying that the truth means nothing to them. And if you're 75 average IQ, that means that half of the people are under 75 IQ, by the way. 75 IQ is like borderline retarded by our standards as well. So just imagine that. Everybody's lying and they're also retarded. And they have sick sociopathic fantasies and pleasures as well.
Now, I know this sounds dystopian, and some people who have never been to India are probably shaking their heads thinking this couldn't be true. But I cannot imagine what about India that is not dystopian. George Orwell was actually born in India, by the way. Conversations in that country are driven solely for personal gain, with a steadfast belief in a zero-sum game, or actually they prefer a win-lose game. If you don't lose in a transaction, they don't feel good about it. There is this strong element of sadism in the culture.
Yeah, so they're also sadists by and large. Like they're not looking for something that is reciprocal or something that is a win-win for both people. They want you to lose in order to feel better about themselves. There's an element of sadism. You see that in all sorts of third world countries where they just like beating each other because it seems like fun. It seems fun to them. Like they get an ooga booga sense of pleasure to be like, ooh, 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 and start like beating somebody with a stick. You know, they catch somebody who they think is a criminal in Africa or something. I've seen videos too. Like, I'm picking on India now, but you know, Africa is just as bad, if not worse. But the problem with India is they have people who are smarter within India and have more admixture with like Europeans and other groups that have colonized them in the past. So they have people who are smarter, who have higher caste, and then they're able to go and infiltrate other countries like Canada or US or Britain or wherever else. And even then, like, there's going to be a regression to the means to what they were before they were colonized, which is their genes that are on average 70 IQ, 75 IQ back in India. So it's not looking good for the future. Meanwhile, in Africa, you know, they don't have a lot of power to reach out beyond what their like villages are in something like Eritrea. And as we've seen, as we talked about earlier tonight, the fact that there's a lot of like tens of thousands of Eritrean immigrants, when they come to Canada, when they have their own cultural pride festivals, they immediately start hacking and shooting each other up at them. And we're left wondering, what the fuck just happened, right? With Jeets, it's in India, Jeets Indians, it's not so obvious right at the bat. But then when you look and do a deep dive into India, it's just a garbage-filled country with 1.4 billion people that need to stay where they are. And if there are good people in India, they maybe need to stay and fix it. But somebody like Jeet Bhandari, who's actually like a good moral person, beyond just being competent, he's been able to get out of India and shed the moral depravity that is commonplace over there. So I understand on one hand that why would someone who is good and moral and smart want to be in a country like that? But on the other hand, Indians should stay in India and fix India. But another thing that he gets into quite often is the fact that the people who rule India are corrupt individuals, and it's not even that they're necessarily that much smarter, it's just they're more willing to be brutal. They're more willing to cheat and lie in a way that is advantageous to them. There's just a lot of shit to fix. And whatever their situation is, hey, I'll say, we'll take Jeet Bhandari, and he'll come and he'll do tours of all our countries and tell us the dangers of Indians. We'll keep him. We'll keep the good one. But the rest of them can stay the fuck out. We need to reverse the flow. Isn't that right, my subject Jeets that I'm doing psychometric testings on? They don't know what's going on. I gave them some pictures of Bob and Vagins to ogle at, and you know, they're quite occupied right now. I put on Thomas the Tank Engine on the big screen for them, and they keep on trying to run in front of it, and you know, they're quite occupied right now. Yeah, they're all... So Canadian Girl said, no, he's going back too. Alright, well, there you have it. The final word has been spoken. Canadian Girl finally came to the stream. Is Jeet Bhandari in the chat right now? I see you tagged him. So every single last one, Canadian Girl in the chat. The topic of discussion. I don't know if you just got here now, but I'm ending the stream now. Yeah, I know. I saw him through like that. The fact that you spoke to him on Spaces and he retweets you. Yeah. Well, anyways, if you missed it, I talked about your case. I don't know if you'll agree with everything I said, but you know, I definitely support you and think that what's happening against you is, you know, just an absolute disgrace. Barrick the Rat just said, did Edgy admit he has a bunch of Jeets jerking off in his basement? Hey, it's for scientific purposes, okay? Have you ever seen a Clockwork Orange? No, I didn't roast you, Canadian girl. I said I don't know if I will go about it the way that she did, but, you know, free speech is free speech, man. It was more like that. And I also read your court documents, and I was like, yo, white privilege card? Respect. Mad respect. That's going down in the Canadian criminal court history of cases. But anyways, that's a good way to end off this stream. That was a lot of fun. It's getting pretty late over here. Yeah, a real racist celebrity, yeah. I think it's only like 10 o'clock in BC right now, so she still has some racisms that she needs to commit before the end of the night. So I'll leave her to it. I want to thank you guys all for coming out tonight. We had a lot of generous people tonight. Appreciate it. Jenstein, you said you were going to be an asshole. I don't know if this constitutes being an asshole, but you're definitely one funny motherfucker. Mr. Bullock, I appreciate you too. Drawfork. Over on Rumble, what was it? Justice for Fathers? I hope you fathers get your justice. Whichever way that means, buddy. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out tonight. It's much appreciated. 07s to Canadian Girl as well. Let's make sure that I'm on solo screen. 07s to Canadian Girl as well. You know, free speech is free speech, and there's no exceptions. Unless you're counseling for somebody to be killed, you're screaming fire in a crowded movie theater. But that's something that Jeets do, so why do we even need to talk about that? You guys know the score. Alright, cheers everybody. We're going to play another Canadian classic rock song to play you guys out. Which one should I do here? Alright, let's take care of business here tonight. Peace out, everybody. Alright, let's take care of some fucking business. Let's get some remigration going. Let's eat the Jeet. Let's make this country great again. Alright, peace out, everybody.